What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for May 6, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the podcast. It is Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's time for a little bit of positivity / motivation, and we're going to continue our look at the 5 harsh truths that we all need to accept to become better people. We're on number 4 today. We talked about number 1, no one is responsible for your happiness but you. Number 2, if all of your relationships have the same problem, you're the problem. Number 3, last week, things are never as good as we think they are, but also never as bad as we fear them to be either. All 3 good rules to live by and things that sometimes are hard to accept. Number 4, and this ties in with a lot of things we've talked about on our Tuesday Motivation Positivity, but it's better to fail at something than to regret never trying. And I do feel this is a pretty self-explanatory one. However, there's a lot of things all of us do, myself included, that we're scared we're not going to be good at them, whether it be a relationship, trying to improve ourselves, go to the gym, a new hobby, running a race, whatever it could be, switching jobs and doing what you really love and being stuck in a job you hate. But I feel as though this is very, very important. There's more to me about feeling regret than actually not being good at something. Because truthfully, whenever you try something new, it's going to take time. There's going to be a learning curve. Again, when I talk a lot about wanting to run the Broad Street Run again. As it's coming up on the anniversary on my time hop, a lot of my times I'm like, damn, I was really good. But I started off running like 12-minute miles. And now between getting hurt and things like that, I'm back around probably 11, 12-minute miles. But in order for me to go back and do the Broad Street Run, I'm going to have to slug through those 11, 12-minute miles to build back up strength and things. And that's just one example. But so many times we don't do what we truly love and what we truly want to do because we're afraid that we're going to fail. And it's easy to say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But it's very hard to start because of that fear of failure, that fear of not being the best. And it's also very easy to say, I wish I would have done that and have that regret. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do it. It's much better to try something, have it not work out, and then be like, okay, at least I tried it. And then who knows? You keep working at it, you can get good at it. But I just really, I love this one because so many things. And I'm a very cautious person, meaning I need to do all the research. I need to know all the facts. And sometimes that does hinder me because I miss out on some things because I'm gathering the information. But a lot of times it's better if you just jump right in and figure it out on the fly. That way you don't have the regrets because unfortunately life is short. You can't have those regrets. Next thing you know, you're going to be in your 70s or 80s and not be able to physically do some of the things maybe you want to do. And you're just like, man, I wish I would have done that. So I'm here to tell you on this Tuesday, don't be like that. Jump in head first. It's better to fail at something than to regret never trying it. And again, you might not like it. There's been many times where I'm like, let me try this. And it's like, you know what? It's not what I thought it was, but at least I can say I've done it. So don't live your life with regret. Don't live your life with fear of failure. And that is today's Tuesday Positivity and Motivation. Hopefully you can take that with you as you go on your week. We will finish up with the 5 harsh truths that everybody needs to accept to become better people. And we talk on this Tuesday Motivation all the time about learning from our failures. It's better to grow from it. Again, you might try something. It might not be something you want or like, but at least you've tried it and at least you know. Don't live with regrets. And like I said, we'll finish up next week with our final harsh truth that everybody needs to accept. Hopefully you've been able to get something out of the previous 4, but don't live your life with regret. It's better to try something and fail than to live with the I wish I would have tried that. All right. Speaking of regret, man, Flyers got screwed yesterday. Yes, it's a quote-unquote lottery, but two teams made major jumps. I believe the Islanders and Utah jumped. The Islanders jumped 10 spots to get the number 1. Utah jumped 9. So the Flyers moved down and grabbed the number 6 pick in the draft. Still not bad. However, it was the worst possible scenario, and the talent level does seem to drop off after the top 4, possibly 5 picks. So not good for the Flyers. However, on a team that's rebuilding, that has a ton of needs, they have that 6th pick, and then they also have Colorado's and Edmonton's picks as well in the first round. They have 11 total picks in this draft. So while it might not have the immediate impact that we might want them to see, this should be a good draft for the Flyers to build toward the future, and hopefully Danny Briere and Keith Jones are able to pull some Howie Roseman magic. What do you say, guys? Maybe package some picks and move up. Although, like I said, I don't know if they're going to do something like that because there are a ton of holes on this team, so we'll see. But the Flyers do fall to the number 6 pick. But we're about a week away from the NBA lottery, and probably the most crucial lottery in Sixers history. Maybe that's a little hyperbole. I don't know without off the top of my head, but they're at a crossroads right now. So we ran the Tankathon simulation this morning. They got the 6th pick. They were able to hang on to it. Again, it's better for the Sixers if they do move up, but having a top 6 pick in this draft is not a bad thing. So we'll continue to do our Tankathon for the Sixers until next week's draft lottery, but the Flyers coming in officially with the number 6 pick in this year's NHL draft. All right, let's do some quick housekeeping. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, @PhillyJimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott, and continue to spread the word. I say it all the time, but if you're enjoying this, likely someone you know in your network of people will as well. So tell them about it and have them tune in. And if you are a new listener, welcome. We're glad to have you. Just a reminder as well, if you want to see clips, pictures, photos, newspaper clippings of what we're talking about on this day, that is available on all my social media, including Facebook and LinkedIn. Having a lot of good discussions on LinkedIn or Facebook. Good discussion yesterday about Rob Thompson and whether or not he is contributing to or costing the team some wins. So let's go right into it. Yesterday's question of the day, I asked you, is Rob Thompson costing the team wins? Split right down the middle, 50-50. And I think a lot of folks were in the camp of it's not 100% solely on Rob Thompson, but a lot of his moves and decisions certainly are not helping the team. A contributing factor, and I would agree with that. I mean, at the end of the day, I've always said this: players have to play. Coaches, it's the easy, and managers are the easy scapegoat for, well, we need to change, we need this, we need that. But ultimately, it comes down to the players, and they're not doing it. I mean, I shouldn't say they're not doing it; they're inconsistent with what they're doing. And I think it's still early in the season. And I know the cliche: it's baseball, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But you want to see some consistency, and that I think is what this team is missing right now is consistency. A lot of people came down on Dombrowski saying Topper can only play the hand he was dealt, and Dombrowski certainly did not make this team better. But I do think there's plenty of blame to go around. We'll get more into the blame game here in a minute. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. We will have another one here in a few minutes. But the Phils are back in action tonight down in Tampa, playing at their their spring training stadium due to the hurricane that went through last year and basically ripped the roof off of Tropicana Field. So they're playing at Steinbrenner Field, right around the corner from where the Phillies stay for spring training. Zach Wheeler on the mound tonight, looking to take that series against the Rays. One person that needs to play well in this series is Bryce Harper. He's shown signs of turning it around, but did talk, I believe it was after the game on Sunday, and said he's frustrated. He's frustrated with the fact he wasn't able to come through in the 9th and 10th innings the other day. He's frustrated that he's not being consistent. He said it's not fair to his teammates, not fair to the fans, and he gets it. He's working hard to get it right. But that is today's question of the day. Do you have confidence that Bryce will turn it around? He is getting older. Lots of talk about his violent swing and possibly his body at some point breaking down. I do have confidence that he will get it together. But what do you think? 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. Do you have confidence that Bryce Harper will turn it around? If we get to the end of May and he's still struggling like this, I might change my answer. But I'm confident he's going to turn it around. Because like I said, if you watch that series against the Diamondbacks, he showed glimpses of starting to get it back. So hopefully it's just a timing thing. And he'll start heating up. As my favorite manager of Phillies history said, it's hitting season. Good old Charlie. So hopefully the hitting season starts for Bryce here soon. But let me know your thoughts. Are you confident that he'll turn it around? I am. I really am. He's shown over the course of his time here in Philly, he gets off to those slow starts for a variety of reasons, but does turn it on when he needs to. Be sure to check out my friends at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Lots of great things happening on their sports fan network. Go to clashingconferences.com for details on what they have to offer, how you can get involved, and then be sure to check out their podcast and wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Usually new ones drop on Thursday and Friday. Lots of fun things happening. They're talking NBA playoffs. The other day they were talking WrestleMania. So lots of good discussion on there with a good group of guys. So go to clashingconferences.com and then do some shopping at Philly Goat. Mother's Day is coming up. You can still order your mom some Philadelphia sports-based apparel. They have the Mother's Day collection. Like I said, my mom, all about it. She's a huge John Kruk fan. She has all the John Kruk shirts that they have on there, minus the Kruk Around and Find Out. Don't know if that's my mom's style or not. But go to Philly Goat. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. And like I always say, scroll through the site. There's so many things that they're constantly coming out with new stuff. Sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle. So just make sure you're spending some time. There's bound to be multiple things on there that you'll enjoy. Just be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery for your 10% off. All right, today we're going to go back to 1976. And on this day in 1976, the Flyers, I should say, beat the Bruins 6-3 at the Spectrum to clinch their third straight trip to the Stanley Cup Finals. Reggie Leach scored 5 goals, which tied an NHL record for the playoffs. It was the first time in Flyers team history that any player scored 5 goals in the game, regular or playoff season. Reggie still is tied with a few people for that record. It was also his 9th straight game with a goal, which tied the NHL record, which he would break in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. The current record, though, is 13, set by Wayne Gretzky in 1988. However, it was all the three-peat was not to happen for the Flyers, as they would get swept by the Canadiens in the Stanley Cup Finals in the next round. However, Reggie Leach did win the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is the MVP of the Stanley Cup playoffs. He scored an NHL record, which still stands, 19 goals, had 24 points. He was the third player to win it on a losing Stanley Cup team. 3 more have done it since, including another Flyer, Ron Hextall, who did it as the goalie in that 1987 NHL Stanley Cup final. But on this day, Flyers clinched their third straight Stanley Cup berth, beating the Bruins 6-3 down at the Spectrum. Reggie Leach with 5 goals, tying an NHL record, which still he holds a piece of today. They would get swept, but he would win the Conn Smythe Trophy. So back in the day, going with a little bit of a Flyers theme. Hopefully, Danny and Keith Jones can turn this around and get the Flyers back where they belong. All right, a quick little bonus this day as well. I'd be remiss if I did not mention this, because little did we know back then, it was a pivotal moment in Eagles history. Jeffrey Lurie was officially announced and bought the Eagles off of Norman Brayman for $185 million, which was a record back then. The Eagles now, not a bad investment for Jeff. as the Eagles are now valued around $8.3 billion. And that was, I think, last year, so it's probably more now that they won the Super Bowl. But Jeffrey, hands down, the best owner in the city. I wish he could. I give Middleton credit with the Phillies. Not really sure who owns the Flyers, but I wish Jeffrey could bottle up some of whatever he has and give it to Joshua Harris with the Sixers, because Joshua Harris seems to be doing what Jeffrey Lurie did in D.C. with the Commanders, but the Sixers are sort of like the forgotten middle child that he owns, because he also owns the Devils as well. But Jeffrey Lurie, best owner in the city, and I, for one, would love to apologize to him officially, because back in 2003, he said the Eagles are the gold standard of the NFL. And we all laughed at him. We're like, what? You get to 4 NFC championship games, winning one of them, losing in the Super Bowl. That's the gold standard. But fast forward 22 years from when he made that statement, the Eagles are the gold standard in the NFL. Players want to play here. They seem to have sustained success. I think they've made the playoffs 7 of the last 8 years or something like that. So, Jeffrey, I officially apologize to you for laughing when you said the Eagles were the gold standard. You were projecting the future. So, the Eagles certainly are the gold standard of the NHL, all because of their owner, Jeffrey Lurie, who officially bought the team today back in 1994. Best decision he ever made. Best decision, I would think, for Philly sports, certainly for the Eagles. So, Jeffrey, thank you for... what is that, 41 years? 31 years. Thank you, Jeffrey. All right, and then finally today, we'll finish up with our Philly Sports Summer Playlist Song of the Day. And this one is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And it is Buddy's Watching You by the 1988 Eagles. If you're old enough to remember, back in the 80s, there seemed to be this thing going around the NFL where NFL teams would do rap songs. And the most famous one of them all was the Super Bowl Shuffle by the 85 Bears. But the 88 Eagles got into the mix. Buddy's Watching You, talking about Buddy Ryan, features a lot of the star players on the team: Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Randall, Mike Quick, among others. The hook is very, very catchy. It was played on the radio locally. If you remember Q106, I think before Q102 was even a thing, there was Q106. But it was a song that they did for charity. I'm telling you right now, this is a must-watch, must-listen, obviously, but must-watch just to see some of the outfits that these players were wearing. It was peak 80s, and if you were alive at that time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But Buddy's Watching You by the 1988 Eagles. I will put the clip of the YouTube video on all of my social media. You have to check this out. I definitely remember hearing this on the radio. I definitely remember when this came out. If you've never seen or never heard this, as soon as this podcast is over, go check it out. Buddy's Watching You by the 1988 Eagles. And you know what? Let's stick with a hip-hop theme, since I've been giving you a bonus track to add to our playlist as well, because this one might be hard to add to a Spotify playlist. But the bonus one, it's a summertime Philly sports playlist, the quintessential Philly summertime song, Summertime by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. If you want to add anything else by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, you can't go wrong with there either. But Summertime is our bonus pick. And if you want to do a bonus pick, if you're a hip-hop head, put some Schoolie D on there. Philly's own Schoolie D gives you that 80s hip-hop vibe. But Buddy's Watching You is today's summer playlist song of the day. I'm telling you, go check it out. You will not be disappointed. On this day, 1976, Flyers beat the Bruins 6-3 to clinch their 3rd straight Stanley Cup appearance. Reggie Leach scored 5 goals, tying an NHL record en route to the Conn Smythe Trophy. Unfortunately for the Flyers, they would get swept by the Canadiens. We'll have another Tankathon simulation for the Sixers tomorrow. Shout out to Jeffrey Lurie, who bought the Eagles officially on this day in 1994, and certainly has turned them into the gold standard of the NHL. We'll also recap the Phillies tomorrow, but it's all about Tuesday. 5 harsh truths that we all need to accept to become better people. Number 4 today, it's better to fail at something than to regret never trying it. Don't live your life with regret. It's one of those things. Life is way too short to be thinking about what ifs. So go, if you're on the fence, maybe this will be your motivation. Go do it. And if you fail, so what? Learn from it. Maybe you don't like it after all. But at least you can honestly say, hey, I've tried this. I don't like it. Or I've tried this. I'm not very good, but I'm going to work at it to get better. So take that with you as you go through your weeks. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for May 6, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.